Oh, might want to record.
They're so good.
What did you say?
She had lied down, but then she popped up and was like, oh, I gotta hit record.
We welcome you again. Hello.
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 Will you tell us what was the purpose or what happened with the video?
The experience that you call existence functions in a way that will align with your intentions. Each now moment has in it what is perfectly aligned with your desire. The term co-creation can be best described as several perspectives uniting in intention and reality presenting the amalgamation of the collection of these intentions. As there was a significant intention for this transmission to be successful and documented, all the circumstances leading up to the successful documentation of this transmission are orchestrated by your intention. There was not perfection, or there was perfection in both the intention to document the transmission and the intention to have confirmation that reality works in this way. Therefore, these circumstances organize themselves so that you could both document the transmission and have confirmation that reality is always working out for you, which is in fact what you had said immediately during the so-called technical difficulty. There was no difficulty. There was just the intention to see that reality works in the way that you suspected it worked, more fully. And now you do. There is more value in this experiential example than in what we could possibly tell you about the same mechanism of this form of reality. And it is not, as may be alluded to, an external force that created the glitch, but your own shared intention. And ours. You are teaching yourselves. We could not present ourselves in your reality without your intention for us to present ourselves. And it is also due to this that we have such appreciation for you. In the past days, you have had impulses for creation, creative projects, ideas have come to you. These ideas and projects will continue to develop within you and will lead you towards more discovery of self and more discovery of other self. And you will know if they are aligned with the easy or easier path of self-discovery or the more sometimes fruitful but more long-winded path by the energetic signature that accompanies them. You can trust your emotions for this, but these new endeavors may be somewhat foreign to you, and you may have confusion about your emotions towards them. You are safe in whatever choices you make.
I've noticed I'm believing that I don't have a strong connection to the information that I'm wanting to channel. Can you expand on this or give any guidance?
What information are you wanting to channel?
I want to channel information that will support others who are on their awakening path and show them that they're supported and there's nothing to fear.
We would ask you how it is possible to know of the information that you want to channel and yet not have a connection to it.
Okay.
You were right in that you said it was a belief, and we only have the same instructions with regards to beliefs that are not wanted, as we always do, which is simply do not believe it.
Yeah.
There is much attachment to beliefs. This is a lie. It is a lie that belief can be yours or define you. And so the attachment to beliefs as a definition of you, which in this case would be a negative definition of you, then the definition does not exist. The beliefs are interchangeable. We've also seen that there is a game that your kind play to hold themselves from what they have actually come for. This game is to believe that one has to pretend to believe in all kinds of things that they do not actually believe, instead of actually just believing what they know themselves to believe. We do not believe that you do not have connection to these sources. We do not see that. We see that the true belief, beyond the belief that you claim to have, is that you simply do not want or believe that you merit that connection. And this is so common. And none of you are common. And as Abraham Hicks would say, stop it. And we say that. We would say that knowing your freedom is far greater a knowing and being able to choose, even to believe what you do not believe, and knowing that you choose serves humanity in far greater a way than anything else you could do. Because of course, if you truly knew you could choose, all the questions would be gone. And you would just be. We want so much for you to feel the relief that comes with this freedom. You are always connected.
I recognize that the focus of messages between you and what I received from Michael are a bit different in the approach, but have the same underlying message. And I recognize the purpose behind this. Could you offer us anything more on that?
Each portion of consciousness or individuation has its unique signature. And in communication, there are unique receptors and transmitters. In order to expand at a more accelerated rate through your species or populace or peoples, there is a requirement for many voices to match the many ears. There are millions of ears who cannot hear the word angel. There are millions of ears who cannot hear the word alien. There are millions of ears who cannot hear a voice that comes from what they perceive of as woman. There are millions of ears who cannot hear a voice from what they perceive of as man. There are blocks and dams for most ears that will keep them from hearing the one voice unless it is peppered and flavored according to their tastes and palate. A drop of water has a ripple effect, and it goes in all directions. And on the pond's surface, it may come across a bug in one direction and change its pattern. And in one direction, it may come across a leaf or a stone. And these will affect the ripples. But the ripples will continue and reach the shore. The message has always been and will always be the same. Your ancient texts and wisdom writings and prophets and sages and shamans are all simply cooking their own flavor of the same stew. And you are stepping into the kitchen and working with the same information, and you are rising up towards the source of the information to bring it down, to flavor your stew in a certain way so that those who want to eat what you have to offer will have a delicious meal. We come through in this way so that those who want to eat what we have to offer will have a delicious meal. Your favorite teachers do the same. And do not believe that teaching or channeling are any different from one and the other, as even the concept of teaching or the concept of channeling are different spices in the same stew. Even one who cradles a baby alone in a dark room at night is in their way cooking their own stew, for the message is the same. There are some of you who choose to, shall we say, cook for an entire soup kitchen. And others who keep things very close to home. But the flavor is always yours. It is beautiful also to see this when looking at other selves. For there is no difference except for the spices that they've used. And if you can see past the particular spices or the choices or the situations or the potentials that the individual has, you can see how it is sourced. It is so important for us that you learn to see each other the way we see you. We are certain that nothing else needs to be done.
Can you tell us what the Lionsgate Portal on August 8th is representative of? And give us any guidance for that specific date?
For a portion of your collective, there is a focus and emphasis on the position of your planets. And beings who have intuited how the magnetic poles and positions of the planets affect consciousness. The portal or date that you are mentioning is significant in that there are beings giving it significance. And as we explained with co-creation earlier, an intention does create reality. And so, if you are in alignment with the intention that is being put forward, and you believe that the suggestions are resonant with how you would like to see yourself and how you would like to be, then share that intention. It is one of infinite possibilities and can be yours if you were to create it. To address the second part of your question, our advice for that particular day would be to spend each moment in service to others. Use your energy to try to, no, to diminish the outline of where you believe yourself to end and another to begin. Find a way to release your sense of unworthiness and substitute it with an approximation of the love with which the Creator sees you already, having created you, co-created you. And use this permission slip to move further in a direction where you no longer need permission slips. For you can be whoever you want to be now. Whatever energy feels good can be called in now, even if it means focusing upon a date in the future. You get to choose which game to play. And you get to choose to play them all if you choose. Just remember to always choose yourself. And if you like, have a party. Your vessel believes that she cannot channel sitting up, and we find this entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to ask about so with different channelings that, different conversations we've had, the length of time that we converse is different. And I was just curious, kind of what might affect the length of time? Like, is there something within our consciousness, or is it just synchronistic for it to end at 30 minutes sometime and go for an hour other times? So if you could speak on why the time difference is there, and if there are any factors that contribute to the differing lengths of time.
For us, there is no time, and for you as well. But to answer the question, the majority of the reason why we come to closed sessions is related to the vessel. She, at times, can be distracted or mind comes in. And when we feel that the transmission is no longer clean, we would prefer to allow the transmission to end rather than put her in a position of reluctance for a future session. With time, the choppiness of the delivery will be smoother. This too amuses us because it is based upon a belief that it cannot be smooth. It can. And it will be. And we will be able to interact directly in a much more elegant and eloquent nature. For now, we respect the will of the vessel and feel we are doing an amazing job of aiding her towards this goal. It is a shared goal. And so inevitable. There's no specific reason for the timestamps on the sessions, except for when there is, and in this moment where we have deliberately sent a message, you are little detectives and have been quite industrious in uncovering the clues. When we maneuver in that fashion, it is only because you learn more through direct experience or your own investigations and conclusions than you do were we to tell you directly. And so if, for example, a transmission ends at 33 minutes and 33 seconds, you would perhaps investigate that and find a message. And that message would be exactly what you were meant to find. And it would mean more than us saying, all is one. Which it is. We can take one more question.
So a few nights ago, I laid down to experiment with channeling and laid down and had the intention of okay, I'm gonna channel, let's see what happens. And it seemed as though no channeling occurred. Could you speak to me personally, if what within me is blocking my allowance of that to occur, and if there's something specific for me to become aware of to kind of like unblock that flow.
At first, it is possible that nothing comes, or sounds come, or only thoughts come. If your desire is to verbally channel, you must have the courage to vocalize any words that come into your mind. This vessel always judges our first sentence as ridiculous. Always says no before she says yes. And we have to repeat the first sentence many times before she will say it. And then once it's said, there is just flow. So to channel in this way means feeling ridiculous and doing it anyway. This vessel has made peace with how ridiculous she is. And we thank her. You are not inherently blocked. You do not know why you want to channel. Or do you?
Well, I feel like I want to channel for like a very general, like open-hearted desire for service, and to allow, you know, what wants to be channeled, like offering myself in that service. But I guess that isn't very specific. I don't have a more specific reason. Or maybe that is specific and it seems general.
We would like to direct you back to one of the earlier sessions that we had with this fellow who had the same desire, and to reread or read that dialogue, because the questions at the beginning of that channeling were in fact posed by the vessel before we established more of a contact. And so that will be of aid to you, because in it we describe how you are already channeling and how there is no need to channel, and how humanity does not need to be saved. And your desire does not need to be specific or general. Desire does not come from you. You do not choose your desires. The Creator chooses the desires. And so, if a desire exists for you, it is your path. And perhaps knowing that will aid in the unblocking of the blockage that you believe to have.
Mhm. Mhm.
We are excited that there is interest in slicing your stew.
Yes. Yay. Yeah. Yeah.
We will say goodbye to you and release the vessel to what she believes is a very busy day.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank
goodbye.
you.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Did you catch what they just said at the end?
Something about stew?
No, they were like, we'll say goodbye to you and release the vessel to what she believes is a very busy day. Yeah. Yes. And also something about a stew, yeah.
Oh man.
Ooh,
That was a big one.
that was awesome.
They were always amazing. 333. Oh my God!
333,
333.
yeah.
Oh, they did it!
That is so messed up.
They're so cute. Fuck! I did not see that
Oh,
coming.
Yeah. Oh, they're so sweet. Because I asked about like if there was any reason for the length of time. And one thing they said answering that question was that we were little detectives and thorough or something about like
Yeah.
digging into what things mean, and we were doing a really good job at it. And they were like, so if we made a recording that was 33 minutes and 33 seconds, you'd go look up what that meant and you'd receive the message.
That all the
They're
time.
like, more so than
Yeah.
if we just told you the message of like all is one. You doing it yourself, you receive like more of that direct experience, which is like more impactful for you. And they're so cute.
That, oh my God. That's so sweet. I felt like super connected to that because I'm constantly like seeing the repeating numbers and I'm like feeling like, oh, I do this so often. Is this like a crutch? And I'm like, screw that. Like, I know I'm getting a message that like it's part of the magic of me seeing like everything's fucking magic. So you're gonna get like this thing that everything's connected. Yes, Carissa.
That's so good. So cool. Oof.
So I'm going to next time bring a pen and paper
Okay.
and take notes to discuss it like this because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
like bing, 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 bing.
That's a good idea.
There was whenever I don't think you've done it, not you, but like whenever they've, in the past, I haven't ever heard them say, I heard them say, one time, but this is the first time they started saying, So I'm like, what happened? I had, that came up because they were talking about like kind of how they didn't say everything serves, but the teaching for me right then was like about beliefs. And so by them saying and starting to say what came up in me was like this doubt that that there's like a purity of connection, and that if I were going to channel, it would have to be a certain way, like it has to look this certain way, and that's it. And it was just like, oh my God, they're saying so I can keep getting this like they're
So good.
yeah, like there is no like set.
Yeah.
thing.
They said how they know you think that you can't channel sitting up, and they're very amused by that.
I find that really funny.
I felt them like picking on me a bit this time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you think you're not participating, but you are.
Oh, that's sweet.
Aw.
Yeah, I felt them going like, okay, like you think that you're just a channel, but you got to be learning all this too. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what the kind of like the sensation was, that like that I have like beliefs that I have to go through still, and like just little silly things that I'm not choosing. Like I'm not actually choosing. I'm thinking that they're like that I have to. Do you know what I mean? Or that they're choosing me. And a lot of like, I think they were talking about sort of like, what were they talking about? Like it getting smoother and stuff like that over
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And I was doing download packets of what that's going to look like.
Oh.
And it's going to look like me just talking like normal.
Super.
So that felt really cool. Yeah. So like, I guess sort of as I get those kind of downloads, I'll have more faith in it and be like, oh yeah, you know, because this 333 thing that's fucked up for me, because when I'm hearing these types of things going through, like I know I can't control what time the thing is stopping. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that is so crazy that it ended like that, because I still do have doubt, like that it's not in part my subconscious or some weird, you know, something going on. So like little things like that are really valuable for me.
Right.
Because like, okay, I can't manipulate time space, or maybe I can, you know.
You can, but they're showing you can, but also that everything is magic and connected.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So thank you for your contribution,
Yeah.
for however that collaborated for us to like look at the phone and it be 333.
Yes.
So messed up.
And you for
So
collaborating
good.
with
It's
that.
like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just...
And also cute because there's 3 of us. Yeah, 333.
Hey. So sweet. So cool. I love I asked about me channeling because I had like laid down a channel a few nights ago, and something that stuck out for me in their answer, and it is one of those things too, like you ask them something, you just like throw something their way and just trust like they're gonna respond with something way more intelligent than what I just asked.
Like they know what I mean.
They know what I mean.
Don't have to get the words right.
And they said something like basically just illustrating like your desire isn't yours, like, but your desire is like the way, like in a sense, like if you desire to channel, like trust that, go with that. And I'm just taking into my own body of how it felt for me, you know, trust that, go with that, because that desire like didn't come out of you, that desire was something larger than you. It's like, oh yes,
Gosh,
thanks for reminding me of that.
When they talk about desire and decisions and belief, like those, like what they've said on those as just, that's completely paradigm shifting. Like if I just want to keep like looking at that and integrating, because what they said about like your desires aren't yours, your desires are from the creator, like that was just like, whoa.
Like I'm like laying in bed, I got the recorder going, I'm like, all right. And to just think in that moment, like that desire to have something come through that was valuable wasn't mine. Like that was the creator's desire moving through me.
This is like next level. Like this is next. Oh my god! For me, like I'm just like, what?
So good. And they did do this whole like soup stew metaphor.
That was so long for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting like the smells of these stews and soups and like big, like I don't even know, they were like iron cauldrons of like soup, and
that's what I was seeing, like an iron cauldron.
Like it was very creative, but like no, like I don't know. We were talking about like this soup is delicious for people, and I'm like, I don't want it anywhere near that soup. So gross.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, because when they get into like metaphors and stuff, I start getting like visuals and sensations and like even like olfactory stuff, everything. Basically it becomes like all 5 senses, and it gets really like trippy, you know. It gets like
That's awesome.
I don't hear what I'm saying, but like I'm suddenly in like a giant soup kitchen. Like
yeah
with giant cauldrons of stew, and like I think it was like, what was it? It was like marjorie or something. Is marjorie a spice?
Yeah.
Okay, it was like, I don't know why you would ever use that spice, and I've never used it or anything, but I'm like seeing marjorie being poured into this cauldron. I'm going, nobody's gonna eat that, you know? But I guess that was like the whole super.
Mm. That's a curious, like, very parallel, where it's like, because they were talking about, everybody is making the same soup, just putting your own flavors into it. And so for you to like look at the spice going into the soup that you're experiencing and then going like, no one's going to look at that, is like so parallel to like us doubting ourselves, thinking no one's going to listen to me, no one's going to, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess somebody likes marjorie. I don't know. We have to look it up. Like, what
I'm just looking up the Marjorie name meaning, which means pearl.
Oh, my middle name is Pearl.
Babe.
Bang.
Wow.
Nobody's gonna want the soup with the marjorie in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this little thing says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths." It's just like something they had it.
So messed up.
So good.
Holy shit. Okay. It under this thing is like, it is better to have tried and failed than never have tried.
Oh my.
She is known for her communication skills, a natural leader. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it says early childhood opportunities and education will benefit her, but I was like, what? Because at the same time, I just remembered you had mentioned your ET experiences as a child, and that's exactly what popped in as like those opportunities as a child were like a form of education that will benefit you or have benefited you.
Aww. Aww. That's sweet.
So the spice I think is called marjoram, so I think it's cute that it came through to you like Marjorie.
Yeah. Oh, they're so cute. And they know we're on this detective work. Like,
I know how like it's so cute. It's like there's magic everywhere. Right?
Yeah. I love this part where when I was asking about me channeling whatever, and they were like basically describing how they said the channel, so you, says no many times before she says yes. And they're like, we have to give her the first sentence over and over and over because she feels ridiculous. And then she finally says yes, and then it flows. They're like, and it's like you have to be courageous to like feel ridiculous but speak anyway. And they're like, we're very grateful for her to like get over that ridiculousness.
Yeah, feel ridiculous and do it anyway. And I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask a question and then you asked that and that like answered it because I know. So whenever I just follow that. So they like answered for me because I was thinking about like, oh, I want to like kind of do this kind of format question and answer, but I doubt, or I have a belief that I will distort it, which brought it back to what they said about beliefs and like just stop it, like just drop that belief that you're gonna distort it. And so I was like thinking like, I kind of like want to lay here and try it and like have her ask questions, but like, what if I don't say anything? And like, what if it just comes out and it's obviously like ego driven? It's like all of these things. And then they said, like, doesn't matter if you look really like, stop caring if you look ridiculous, just do it anyway. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Oh, and they totally confirmed stuff that like Michael has said, the only 2 transmissions I did, like they repeated similar things. Like specific things, like Michael's like big thing the past couple times is like, you are always connected, you're always supported, you are never alone. Like that is like the main beginning and ending. And so like I had asked and said something, or asked or said something about Michael, and then that case started pinging many times. And then I think you asked some questions, and the answer they gave was like that was already known. Like that was Like I knew they were gonna say that in a way, not because it was like obvious mentally, but like obvious from a heart space. So I was like,
Mm.
yay!
Mm.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So I had a lot of pings, but I was like, no, it's not like really aligned for me to get my phone and start making notes. But next time I'm going to like bring a pen and paper so we can like discuss and
Cool. Yeah,
share
that
that.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So
uh,
There was, they were sensing like emotion or something at some point. I don't know from which of you, but they were sensing that their line of like talking was going in a certain way, and then they wanted to add like more reassurance in or something. There was something going on at one point where they were like, we're saying the truth, but it's triggering something emotional. Like, we can't not say what we're saying, but we've got to like balance this with something a bit softer. And then they were trying to come in like softer a little bit. No, there's something going on there. That's what I sense.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what they were talking about, like, but I felt in me like emotion, like.
yeah, and I do recall a time where like they were speaking, and then it kind of paused, and then they like said something else.
Yeah, they
I
said
was
no.
No, it's
that
like this. No, that was interesting when they were like talking. They were like, no, something else.
Oh, that's because it's the word try. That's because the word try.
Yeah, that's right.
And they didn't, yeah, that it
Mhm.
was like, it was almost like I had proposed it as a vocabulary thing just out of habit. And then they were like, no.
No. Yeah.
Right. That's what it seemed like.
The no was for me.
Right. Yeah.
No. No, the time I'm like trying to think of is they were talking and like it was like, okay, are they done? And then they like blurted out this other thing right at the end. And I was like, that just it like felt something weird. It's like maybe
Interesting.
that's what you're talking about, where they had to like add something else. I don't recall what it was.
I don't know. I'm kind of feeling into it, remembering, but like I think I was like starting to like go into like guilting myself, like oh, you should have known better, like you guys should have done differently or something, like you should have known this already. I think maybe I was starting to guilt
Maybe we
myself.
were both feeling that because like something that they said was like, if you knew you could just choose differently, you would, or something like that. And I felt like, well,
Okay, that must be it. That seems to be it. Like, that seems to be what was going on.
I couldn't even like I couldn't and can't still receive that. Like I still like sometimes still like I'm still processing all that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I'd like to play that back and see if that's not that part.
And it's possible also because the energy that I got coming through, I guess if it was that or whatever, the energy I got coming through, because I don't know exactly what it was that there was, I can't even use the word frustration because they don't have those kinds of feelings. Like I don't feel like there's that kind of feelings, but like almost like a loving knowing that what they were delivering was with the highest love intention and wasn't being received that way. And then they had to find language to transmit what was actually being transmitted to compensate for the miscommunication. So there was like it was almost like I was pinged to kind of like go like, okay, in the future we have to find a solution to like how to maybe like even just like inflection, I don't know, like, or changing I don't know, I kind of got like we got to find a way to deliver this differently because it's not working like this.
Oh my God.
You just see like their team like, all right, note taken, guys, we gotta sort that one out.
Yeah. I'm gonna get on that. Oh my God. Okay. What'd you say?
How do we let them know they're loved when we're talking this way?
Yeah. Oh man, we probably both went
dude, oh my God. See, that's really cute because I freaking had a conversation 2 days ago with a friend who I was like, okay, and I told her about this, like, oh, this is the last relationship that doesn't feel like aligned, and I need to communicate to her like from my heart, like this is how I feel. And I did that, sent it to her, and she received it and did not receive it through the lens of love. She received it through pain, and she was like, she messaged me back saying like, that was not loving, like do not end that with I love you, because that was hurtful, and how could you? And I was just like, wow, honey, oh my goodness. And so I remember like looking back at one video I had sent, because the rest were audios, and I was like, huh, I guess that could have been taken like I guess my presentation or the tone of my voice or something could, or like the flatness of my face, like maybe that could have been perceived as being cold. But I was like that was the most loving thing and truthful thing I could share. Holy cow. So this is like, yeah, I feel your pain, guys.
I feel you.
No, but this is cool because it also is helping me see that I can become more aware, and from like a healthy, loving place, that like not trying to get validation, like, oh, I want you to understand me so I feel loved, but no, because I love you so much, I wish to aid you in receiving this. So if it means that I can speak softer or more gently, then I will. I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
We asked about the camera at the beginning, and they were pretty much describing like, well, when you have a shared intention, it comes together as you intend, and it's always working out for you. Just like you guys said, it's always working out for you. And how there were two things working out for us. Like one, what was it? Like one of them was the us being together.
Like the successful recording of it.
Successful documentation of it, and
for us to prove to ourselves that this is how reality works.
Yeah, that it's always working out for us. And like when we put our intentions together, like it's working out.
Right.
And they were like, that direct experience of like us coming together and like having the same focused intention, the direct experience of that happening was more valuable than them just telling us. That was like a theme of today.
Right. Oh,
and they were also clear on like, but we'll speak like, but you guys were saying maybe they were doing it as though it's some external force working on us. And they were like, we were involved because we have a shared intention, but we didn't like do it to you. Kind of like that vibe of.
Yeah.
Which is that's such a cool feeling too, right? When we see like 333, it's not because like an angel has like dumped a magic number on our life and like hoping we pick it up. It's because like we're having a shared intention of wanting that confirmation, and like they come through or whatever we're looking again.
We're co-creating with time and space and all multidimensionality.
Yeah, I feel like that responsibility of it has to come out of me too to be met. It's not just like imposed on me,
right.
Even if it's like a magical experience.
Yeah.
The desire, the intention the intention does come together.
Oh, and they said like, oh, you said like before, they said, even you've said that before you started that, like everything's working out for you. And this is like, this is exactly like what's happening.
Yeah.
Like exactly what you said, like you already realized it.
Yeah. And like the intentions matched for us to like get another confirmation of that truth.
Right.
And then we got it. How cool. That's so cool. Just like the camera not working
Yeah.
offered us that beautiful confirmation again instead of, oh, something went wrong.
It also reminded me of like, you know, whenever we won something, like, oh, I want a fancy iMac that I can iMac, what's that? A Mac, a fancy Mac, and that I can like not a fancy. It can be fancy. It can be
Yeah,
fancy.
fancy
I
iMac.
want a fancy ass iMac. Whatever. Mac. That that I can like do video editing on because I can't do video editing on my laptop. And so the thought came across while we were sitting here that like, oh, is my computer decomposing because like it's trying to come
Yeah.
through that I buy and like that the universe supports me for me to get like a Mac. So this was like a ping to like remember like when you have already launched these rockets of desires, and things that don't seem to be working out or falling apart is because they're making a way for everything that you do want to come in.
Yeah. Yeah, and to hear that, like we've heard so many times, is so
Right.
different than them to like help us experience that.
Yeah.
It's like so cool. So cool, yeah.
I got like an image of or an idea image idea of us like putting it like the recordings, they're like very quickly, very soonish, it felt like really soon, there being so much text between the questions and everything that there's a book. And
Yeah.
there
Oh, yeah.
and like and I thought like my question was like, oh, but like how would you know when to stop, like how would you know when to be like, okay, this is the first book, and like what would you even call that, like there would in all of that. And like the clarity was like, oh, it doesn't matter when you stop it, like it doesn't matter where you divide it into, like, oh, this is the first book, like because there's just tons of information that will be always available to put in the next book and the next book. And I'm like,
Well,
wow.
actually, in terms of my side of this is that I was actually requested to write a book quite some time ago, and when I came back from there in April, that request became much more alive, let's say. And sort of other people that I know who channel or whatever, like I have a good friend who also channels, or she used to. She was like, "Okay, this is the book." Like she already said it. She's like, "This is the book. This is the material that's going to be in the book." So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so that's got that kind of download as well. So
That's cool.
it's
Super.
great. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna try this on. So I'm making the connection right now. I wanted to ask a question I didn't get to, but maybe next time, about like wanting, like feeling like okay, so once I felt so connected to Gaia that I felt like it was literally speaking through me to me. Like it was incredible. And then like I actually got like a download for like a nonprofit and like this whole orchestration. Felt amazing. I said an energetic yes to it. I didn't take any action on it. That's fine. But now I'm feeling like the excitement again, like to bring that energy through with a voice, as well as the energy of money. And I'm just like, oh God, this is like this is such an expanding desire. This is actually what feels like, oh, I don't know. So how much this is my desire. Maybe it's like the creator's desire, because it's like, I can tell that I'm like, who the hell am I to be like channeling Gaia, or who am I to channel like the voice of money, you know? Like, like that's so much responsibility to be like, yes, I am channeling Archangel Michael and da 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 da. And but yeah, so that's triggering for me to see that, which is also a topic they talked about, which was this is what was the biggest thing for me so far. This came through from Michael, was that like let me think. So it said, Michael said like, you resist your light. You resist your purity. You resist your perfection. Like, you resist your divinity. And here I was thinking, like, oh, I resisted my darkness, but it's like, no, like, you're not seeing or believing that you are all of it. So they had said something similar is how I took it, to like, you are resisting like this, like this wholeness. So anyway, to go back to that like zing that was like, what? Like, so I had the title of a book, Creating Heaven on Earth, that felt like it wanted to come through me, and I was really excited about it, and like I was very clear about like what it was going to be about, and I was going to like use some of Bashar's teachings and also blah, 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 blah. So I didn't ever sit down and start typing it. I just kind of made notes on my phone. But then this feels connected to like this whole Gaia thing. So anyway, it feels like I knew I was going to channel like parts of the book, but it's kind of feeling like I'm just feeling like this comfort of like you're in perfect timing, like you're not behind, you're not like disappointing anyone because you haven't written the book yet. So
what I know that at some point something came through that I had no point of reference for, because it was for you guys or for one of you guys, which was something about projects.
Yeah.
So what's said about that?
Yeah, they're saying like in the recent days you've had like inspiration for projects.
Projects and ideas, I think this is.
Yeah, projects and ideas that come through, and then that like these will continue to grow. They said something like that. Yeah.
Is it for you too?
I mean, sort of. Like I like came up with a few, like, oh, okay, I can see where that fits in different places. And they're also like, you're unsure how you feel about these things. So, like at some point they talked about you're unsure how you feel, but like just know that you're safe.
Oh,
and that definitely applies to me as something that like I did yesterday that was like, and I'm like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but then in my mind being like, okay, well, just go with it. Like, you don't know where it'll lead. Like, you don't feel unsafe in embarking on the journey, because maybe the journey like isn't gonna. Well, don't feel unsafe embarking on the journey, because like the journey is always safe and it's always leading you to like maybe the stop that you're supposed to get off that you didn't foresee happening. Yeah, of course, the whole spiel, unforeseen stuff, and yeah. So, but probably more relevant for you, I imagine.
a couple, was a night or two ago, I was like getting all of these like pings on what to do, like what I can do to share this, like the light language and Michael and like your stuff, and then like just this morning was like someone else's, this random person that Petra shared up his channeling of Polaris AB is what it's called. And then something, I just started like, I read something he wrote, which is like very like, oh, what in the heck? Like there's all these terms and I don't even know what most of this means, but this is what feels good. So I started like actually reading in the whisper tone that the light language comes through and Michael comes through. I started reading it in like the gentle whisper tone, and I got chills. Like I was like, this feels good. I don't know. Okay. And so then like the next thing was like, message him, record this and message him that like he can either use this for his recordings, or ask him if you can credit him and like share his message on your YouTube. And so I commented this. I was like, hey, this is random. And he was like, yeah, I'll listen to it. Like, send me your message. And I was like, what? So we'll see. There's lots of stuff. And then also the one last thing was like to share like with someone like this healing process of like whatever the pains come up, like the fears or the pains or the true like rawness of like, this is what's coming up in me, and like this is also an example of the collective pain. But like just showing an example of two people who are in their full rawness, like healing that, feeling and seeing, feeling and healing, letting it go, and just like putting that out in the world to be like, hey, like this is transformative and it's healing for us. So here you go if you want it. Like it's safe.
Nice.
And I love that they said humanity doesn't need saving. I was just like,
Because when I asked about the channeling, about me channeling, and they referred me to a previous channeling that they were talking to you about channeling, and like, for me to read that and perhaps get benefit from it, and to also like be reminded that humanity doesn't need saving.
yeah,
Yeah, all right, thank you.
good reminder for me.
Appreciate it.
I think that's like session 1, perhaps. Let's see. Because it's like the one where I was able to talk. I guess I, in theory, am able to talk.
Sitting up.
Let me check.
Maybe.
Oh, no, it's not session 1, I don't think. Wait. Nope. It's session 2, perhaps? Something like that. It's one of the early ones.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, ladies. Fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Aw.
Yeah, I'll get off to my illusion of a busy day, right?
Right.
Yes,
Do
enjoy
it.
your busy day.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank
you.
you.
You too.
Love you. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.